The Chinese and Japanese porcelain, which won the hearts of the Western world, is well represented in the SALARJUNG Museum so that the visitors may feast their eyes on the wonderful products that charm the world, our phenomenon known as China Mania. SALARJUNG Museum's collection celebrates the beauty of Chinese and Japanese porcelain in their many splendid varieties, whether it be fantastic celadon, beautiful blue and white porcelain, or marvelous multicolor porcelain from China, or intensely lovely imari, highly decorative kakimono, or the gorgeous satsuma from Japan. Let us discover for ourselves the treasures of China and Japan that captured the fancy of a world of the admirers. Chinese porcelain stunned Europeans as soon as it became known. Marco Polo, the Venetian traveller, christened it as porcelain after the white seashell porcella in admiration of its white shell-like luster. The Chinese and Japanese porcelain gallery at SALARJUNG Museum is the magnificent outcome of SALARJUNG's desire to possess the famed Chinese ceramics, which were prized and coveted by the nobility of all European and Middle Eastern countries. Over the centuries, China maintained its dominant position as the world's preeminent producer of ceramics. As countless new methods and styles were developed, one type of early Chinese porcelain which found favor with European and Middle Eastern kings and art lovers was celadon ware. Celadon porcelain is easily one of the most popular and long-lived ceramic styles ever produced in China. Celadon crafting was an ancient Chinese innovation and has been China's most prized porcelain since the Tang dynasty, dating back to 618 AD. The term celadon for the porcelain's pale jade green glaze was coined by European connoisseurs. It occupied the position as the quintessential and represented Chinese porcelain for centuries. Celadon glazes were produced in a variety of colors, including white, grey, blue, and yellow. However, the most famous shades ranged in colors from a very pale green to deep, intense green, often resembling the green shades of jade. Celadon porcelain is essentially characterized by its simple yet quite refined shapes, by its jade-like glaze, by its solid substance, and by its quite distinctive style. Bowls, plates, and vases of celadon with simple and dignified shapes and designs and smooth jade-like glazes were exported in large quantities to Europe and Middle Eastern countries. Another reason for popularity of celadon was their supposed capacity to detect food poisoning. Although it has no scientific basis, the belief that celadon could detect food poisoning persisted in ancient China and Middle Eastern countries. It was said that the mysterious celadon would split or break when they come into contact with poison. It is a belief that made it the exclusive choice of imperial patrons. SALARJUNG Museum houses celadon dating from the Song period of 12th century to those of the 18th century in the Qing period. They belong to different periods and dynasties, and this can be discerned by subtle variations of shapes and decorations. The celadon items on display at SALARJUNG Museum can be recognized by their unmistakable incisions, impressions, and applied relief. A superb selection of celadon ware at the museum is embellished with the famous crackle decorations, which are immensely attractive.
I have come for the first time to Hyderabad, and I find this place is very, very nice, very nicely kept, everything, the collection, and very well maintained. And last year I went to Europe. I have seen France's Louvre. It's very, very big, and I find these roofs are plain here. This is quite modern, but in terms of collection, this is very good. Chinese, Japanese, brass, weapons. I find it very, very interesting, and especially here I have seen that wooden murti which has twin character. The one is villain and the other one is lady. So that kind of collection I have never seen anywhere else. So I think Andhra Pradesh tourism has done a very good job.
By the 14th century, the Chinese had begun decorating their porcelain with blue enamel derived from cobalt ore, popularly called Mazarin blue, which was imported from Persia and Balochistan. Gradually, this blue and white technique of decoration gained popularity in Chinese courts, thus replacing celadon. The blue and white porcelain, the treasure among Chinese porcelains, is characterized by refined and white quality, simple but elegant designs, bright colors, and rich patterned decoration. It also boasts of artistic charms of Chinese ink and wash painting with both practical and ornamental functions, and suits both refined and popular tastes. Blue and white porcelain bears very high value in terms of artistic appreciation, renowned both in China and abroad as a pearl of the porcelain world. Drawing the design with the cobalt pigment onto the stoneware body and painting over it with a transparent glaze creates the blue-white style, which was also known as underglazed blue. Blue-white porcelain was introduced during the 12th century Yuan dynasty and has been in production ever since, thanks to its bright colors, simple yet elegant patterns, and smooth glaze that never fades. Several beautiful pieces of blue and white porcelain are on display in SALARJUNG Chinese Porcelain Gallery. Rich in decoration and lavish in shapes, the museum's blue and white porcelain belonged to Ming dynasty of the 16th century. Especially stunning are a pair of dragons, the frog-shaped holy water container, and several interestingly shaped jars and vases. Also on display is a praiseworthy collection of Tehua porcelain from the Fujian province of China, which is alabaster white in color. The 17th century Tehua porcelain figurines are so fine in appearance and glaze that they seem to be like sculptures carved out from were burner, cup, bottle, plate, vessels, which are often decorated with appliques and stamps, and the porcelain figurines, which are also remarkably exquisite. A later fascinating development in the porcelain craft was the introduction of multicolored enamel decoration on the white glazed surface of the porcelain objects. There are several other rare and priceless pieces in this gallery that deserve our undivided attention. One is being a beautiful plate which bears paintings of ho-ho birds, dragons and mythical symbols, and another majestic imperial mask of Wan Li of the 15th century Ming era. While the Chinese porcelain had become famous throughout the world for its rich shapes, colors, application and functionality, Japan too was following closely in its footsteps. The Japanese became familiar with porcelain almost 7 centuries after its invention. The Japanese found deposits of porcelain stone in Arita district in the early part of the 17th century. They set up a number of manufactories in Arita. They made such excellent porcelain which at their best excelled the Chinese products in their iridescent coloring and minuteness of decorative details. Japanese porcelains became fashionable and popular in the Western countries. The porcelains which brought acclaim for the Japanese ware are Imari, Kakimon, and Satsuma. Fired in the Kins of Arita, Japan, 8 miles south of the seaport town after which it was named, Imari porcelain is distinguished by the beautiful visual effects produced by its blue underglaze and color overglaze enamels. They are often suggestive of rich oriental brocade. These were prized porcelain bowls, plates, vases, teacups, and other wares. Made with incredible artistry, their glazes, patterns, motifs, weaving in tales of emperors, tea ceremonies, cranes, rabbits, and more are spectacular in their versatile variety. Justifiably, Imari is known for its colorful glory, from the grandest designs to the smallest details. Imari is one of the oldest and most distinctive styles of antique porcelains from Japan. SALARJUNG Museum has some exquisite Imari plates and vases which are colorfully painted in blue and red in the inimitable Imari style. Another Japanese ware that won praise for the decorative appeal is known as Kakimon, after Sakeda Kakimon, belonging to a family of Arita potters. Kakimon developed a style of enameled decoration which was highly decorative and elegant. He perfected his famous and finest overglaze technique at Arita. It was continued by his family, and since many of them were also called Kakimon, the style has become known by that name. Kakimon enamels were soft orange, grass green, and lilac blue. Typical dishes, bowls, and vases were made in octagonal, hexagonal, or square shapes. The most famous Kakimon decorative device shows sprigs of foliage and little quails. Characteristic colors are iron red, light blue, bluish green, and yellow, and sometimes a little gilding. Some elegant pieces are present in the SALARJUNG Museum's gallery. Probably the best known Japanese porcelain is Satsuma ware. Satsuma porcelain has been traced to 17th century Japan, taking its name from the southern province of Kyushu Island. The characteristics of Satsuma ware are rich decorations with gold and polychrome colors on soft ivory-colored crackled glaze. Typical for the decoration of Satsuma ware is the use of gosu blue, a a highly saturated blue glaze. Satsuma porcelain is painstakingly painted with thick enamels and gold leaf. Often in elaborate decoration and depicting scenes directly from Japanese ethos of legends, court life, and artistic values. These are highly sought after by a growing body of collectors the world over. The colors are very warm, orange, black, gold, and earth tones are represented galore. One distinctive difference in Satsuma ware from other Japanese porcelain is the pattern usually, though not always, covers everything, not leaving even the tiniest spot unpainted. Another speciality is that gold is overwhelmingly the most important color of genuine antique Satsuma ware. Yet the biggest difference is that Satsuma items have a slightly crackled glaze, the most popular being cream-colored ware with a crackled glaze. SALARJUNG Museum has a handsome collection of Satsuma porcelain ware. The paintings on some of the Satsuma items at the museum are marvelous for their minute detail. Excellent samples of Satsuma style of porcelain at SALARJUNG Museum is a teapot adorned with an elaborate 1000 butterfly pattern, a vase with masked handles and mythological figures, and the small bowl which is decorated with 1000 chrysanthemums. Surely it will amaze you with its unbelievable finesse. Nowhere in the world has porcelain assumed such importance as in China, and the influence of Chinese porcelain on Europe and the Western world has been profound. SALARJUNG's Herculean endeavor to bring to us this rich visual experience deserves our deepest appreciation and our unreserved applause. We are sure that SALARJUNG's collection of Chinese and Japanese masterpieces mesmerized you with their unique Oriental beauty. These products, with their distinctive workmanship and decoration, superior quality and elegant style, should have bewitched you. China, where porcelain production flourished spectacularly, gave us moments of pleasure in sheer experience beholding these treasures. In our next episode, we will explore yet another unique and magnificent collection of SALARJUNG. Until
సాటి మగాడి అన్యాయాన్ని విన్నారా? కాళిదాసను నేను సుబ్బారావు గారి ఏకైక అల్లుని. నన్ను కొట్టించారు. ఇంటికొచ్చి మామగారు ఇది నా పరిస్థితి అంటే అయ్యో అలాగా మాకేం తెలియదు అంటున్నారు. ప్రజలారా న్యాయం మీరే చెప్పండి. ఒంటరి మగాడి బతుకు రక్షణ లేదా? ఒంటరి మగాడి బతుకి రక్షణ లేదా? సూపరా
నడుచుకుంటూ పోవాలి
అంతే తెలియనట్టుగా. యాక్షన్. 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 అలా అమ్మ తీసింది.